All right, beautiful afternoon here in Seattle, and I've arrived at Beacon Food Forest. Beacon Food Forest is an iconic community agroforestry site in America, in the United States. It really put food forestry on the map when it commenced. When fruit trees and ground was first broken 10 years ago, and it really got people excited and interested in the food forestry concept in the United States. So it's really great to be here. It's an important site to be looking at as an exemplar project throughout the world, and I'm going to be talking with one of the founders, Glenn Herlihy, and the CEO, Will Rak, over the next few days to understand more about this place, about its governance and the operations.
The winds are just too hard, and it's cold and rainy on especially the plums, and you see evidence of it where the plums that are kind of hidden in the trees have more pollination. And there was a plum back in the nut guild there that had probably the most plums we've seen. Or you can see more plums inside the tree, or even on the leeward side of the tree too, which is a clear sign that the bees just didn't want to go out into the wind, but rather would stay on the leeward side of the tree to
see more plums on
sheltered.
the leeward side?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
These two trees exhibit it the most. These are really quite out in the open. These are all in the corner. They're also a different species, or is it a species or definitely a different variety?
Yeah, different variety. Yeah.
Asian versus European. I guess it is a separate species, isn't it?
Do you think the different variety, like, it holds onto its pollen in higher winds, and therefore
Possible.
it's got a greater chance of being pollinated? Or?
Is it a different bloom time? Do the Europeans versus Asians bloom different times?
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, who knows?
A lot of them are just a little too early for our climate. They come out in March, or like early March sometimes, and it can be sort of snow and wet, frozen rain,
right.
and heavy winds that come this way.
Yeah.
So it's not good for early varieties. When we think about our trees and our shrubs that we want, it's always kind of good to make a nod to when their pollination and when they're flowering, when their bloom time is, because then we'll get a better chance of success. Let's go down here.
I want to go see if there are any plums left on that tree.
I got the last one this morning.
No, man. See that?
Sorry. That's the only one I got.
I had one, the first one, I think, when I was there with you.
Good. I am glad you got one.
At least I got one, yeah.
Because I'm like,
See, like the autumn olive, nothing, absolutely nothing.
They're still growing.
Really?
Little
Maybe
babies.
they are.
Are we still gonna get
going.
fruit on this?
Maybe they will, but this seems really late.
Yeah, I'm not wild about this fruit anyways.
But the birds liked it.
Yeah.
Fragrance of this is really nice. That's what I like the best.
Oh, that's true.
Fragrance.
The autumn olive is late?
Yeah, I would think there would usually be berries on it. So this area here, this was the phase 1 food forest.
Oh, okay.
This is mostly our food forestry.
This is food forest proper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gone through a lot of different changes. Most of the trees are original from the original planting.
Yeah.
In the beginning, we got all our trees from mail order, so they all came in boxes, in bare root in boxes. And in the beginning, it was wood chips, sticks coming out of the ground, and a few tiny little shrubs, a lot of shrubs.
Yep.
And the shrubs shot up. the blueberries, the currants,
Yep.
a lot of the berries.
Yep.
Really, actually, the blueberries didn't produce, but there was a lot of raspberries that came up, and even the strawberries. We used the original ground cover was a wilder strawberry that loved the sheet mulch and just took over, and it was just a perfect ground cover. It seemed to shade enough in the summer. This kept the soil cool, produced a little bit of fruit.
Produced a little bit of fruit.
Just a little bit.
Like
The
super
wild ones-
notably a little bit.
Yeah. But with no work.
But you
Yeah,
know, a
look.
good ground cover for the other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I mean, the secession was berry farm first. It really,
Yeah.
I mean, in a true secession, if we were to just leave this bare, we'd be looking at pioneer species, which are the first species that come in. The weed, mostly annual weeds and nitrogen fixers like fireweed's a big pioneer species around here, and but we kind of jump-started all the secession elements to the climax species all the way down to the woody perennials almost right away, as people do when they plant, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a natural forest, mimicking a natural forest. But in the beginning, it was a long haul before we saw our first, plum or apple or anything.
Yeah.
They were little.
This tall.
They were just this tall.
Like in a wagon, bicycled into the site.
The cranberry berries are almost ready.
Oh, cool.
Are these the gross ones?
Yeah. What? Oh, it's called American Highbush cranberry or cramp bark. The berries are awful. They're just so bad. Just so bad.
Have you? It sounds like you have.
Yes.
You think they're awful?
See, I think I
Eaten them in the wild.
tried
Yeah,
one
that one
and
here.
understood what he was talking about.
I mean, but would you want to cook it and then it would be okay in a sauce
Maybe,
form?
yeah. Maybe it just wasn't treating it right. Some things
Mhm.
need to be cooked.
Yep.
Sounds like the bark might have a purpose.
Yeah, it treats cramps of all kinds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's medicinal. And it's
Mm.
also a really beautiful bush in and of itself.
Yep. And is this an example of one of these succession, like the pioneer part of that succession? Is that one of these species?
This is a small woody perennial or shrub is sort of like second or third in the succession.
Yeah.
Your annuals come in first, and then that develops sort of the soil conditions as they lay down a lot of material, and then you have your small perennials. We're still talking weeds. Weeds are super important as pioneer species, and we're still experiencing sort of this pioneer understory in some cases because our weeds are so heavy. Not enough sort of denser and woodier perennials that start to build up a shade factor or some kind of cover for the smaller trees to come up. But so that would be a perfect third stage or second or third stage species to start creating a shade for other natives that can come in, and a little more protection in the climate in the area for the other plants.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Beautifully in the shade.
Comfrey, that's a great
It
understory.
looks like an onion or some sort of allium going up through it.
Yeah.
So what was this one, Glenn?
This is an Oregon grape, Mahogany, which is a
Oregon
native
grape,
plant.
Okay. All right.
It does flower and it does fruit. The fruit is not great for fresh eating. It's astringent, but it can be made into jellies and it's good
Okay.
medicine.
It looks like a grape.
It does look like
that's
a grape, kind of.
Yeah.
Bluish purple,
Yep.
kind of dusty. This-
End game. This is kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah.
A mixture of woody perennial mint,
Yeah, I love
some kind of
that.
annual or perennial bulb, edible bulb, all kind of coexisting together under our trees, right? That's what we want.
Oh, and the seeds of plantains are edible. Apparently, they taste kind of like sesame seeds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And buttercup, not too bad underneath there, which is a good sign. That's kind of always an objective is to shade out the weeds.
All right.
This buttercup's just crazy stuff. chocolate. This is a chocolate lily, actually. I think here.
Guys, look here.
Thank you.
They have no fruit.
What's the annual that's growing
These
here?
haven't been bought.
This looks like an onion.
Wow, I didn't know it was there. This plum tree has been excellent in past years, but I didn't
Move that
see too
inner
much this year.
Yeah. Smacky.
Maybe
Has
it
anybody
comes
been watering this area? Do you know?
We did on Thursday.
Oh, did you?
We can vouch for that one time it's been watered.
Yes.
I mean, really though, I don't know.
Skeleton crew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Skeleton mushroom.
I won't be here this Thursday, but please water more.
Survive.
3.5 gallons a week.
Really?
Yeah. Well, in their first
Honeyberry, currant, rhubarb. So you got perennial system. You have, there were some annuals, some sort in here, but and now, and she's even salah. So she's done.
Yes.
She started the shade process
Yes.
for the climax succession is to have these shade plants, and these are some of my favorite berries
Yes.
of all time.
Native berries,
Salah are one of my favorites.
I want
Salah?
to see more salah
Yeah.
here
Salah?
for sure.
Yeah.
It's been on my mind a lot that would be so relevant to just have, and they like the shade, and eventually.
But medicinal too. I mean, this probably volunteered, this campaign, but it's a medicinal element to the gill. Calendula is a medicinal Is that a wild carrot there? Is that Queen Anne's lace? And then the lion's mane or whatever. But so this is, and pollinator. We got lavender over there too, so we got a pollinator covered.
So someone is coming in here and just gently maintaining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one woman who has sort of adopted this area, and she's been since the very beginning of the project, and she's an educator and all kinds of stuff, and she just kind of uses this as, adapting one small little area.
Yeah.
It's really a great and not an overwhelming thing
Yes.
for people to do, right?
Contain
And that's
her energy.
super important.
Super important.
She's a steward.
It's so
Yeah,
important.
she's a steward.
Yes. Yeah, she's a steward. Yeah.
And even an Oregon grape back there and stuff. So,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's got the diversity of uses. It's got the diversity of species. It's really, it's working great.
Yeah.
But it's required constant maintenance.
I think that's also part of the stage in succession that we're in right now.
Yeah.
We're still in this loose, open field forest hybrid. We're not in a forest. There's not dense shade. The food forest I went to in New Zealand, the Guytons, it's dense forest. It's been going for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't worry about weeds. They can't thrive here. It's too shady.
Yeah.
We've got all this open space. Right? It's a lot of sun. A lot of good moisture trapping. We've done everything to create an awesome environment, and then the weeds thrive too. So then we need to steward it, keep it going.
Maybe that's the linden area. Maybe we do a whole grove, something like that.
And then also
See if they can take that.
Actually, almost an excessive organic material, which ended up probably imbalancing our soil in that direction a little bit more than we should have.
What does the imbalance look like? Organic?
Organic shouldn't be more than 10 to 15% at the most. So we don't have quite as much mineral content.
Yeah.
Actually, just the balance of everything. Too much organics can end up causing more pest or disease problems, and it probably is exacerbating our weed issue, having so much organic in there.
And the moisture issue too, because it does hold. I mean, it's great for summers that get hot like this, but it's pretty tight.
Maximum.
Holds together almost too well.
And what was the recipe for something like this?
Minerals, air, and water. Floor space, 50% floor space, and then
So how much would every?
This is getting watered really well.
or 25%. So
Got
50%
nice moisture to it, hasn't it?
floor
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, it's got a lot of moisture, like way down, so and way up top. So
It's got a good colour.
Depending
Yeah.
on how wet your
Yeah.
soil is, I guess.
Nice
it
smell.
doesn't smell anaerobic or at all. It
Nice
smells
earthy-
actually really good.
Earthy smell.
Yeah. I
Mm.
mean, organic content is really important. It's really helpful for soil texture and keeping the soil workable by roots and things, and it also holds on to nutrients really well. Clay holds nutrients really well, but it has kind of a difficult texture. It's hard for roots to penetrate, whereas organic matter holds the nutrients and like breaks up the soil and allows it to penetrate. So it's good to an extent, you know. We don't want too much of it.
Yeah.
And I think our problem is that when we have a huge swath of weeds, the easiest way to deal away with it is just to sheet mulch right over it again. And so we just keep adding layers of woody material on top of each. Yeah.
So too much feed mulching. Can
Too
be-
much organic, yeah.
Yeah.
Over itself again. It's great to take the grass out at least the first time, but then if
Yeah.
you do it multiple times, that's the deal.
Yeah.
The soil quality
Yeah.
changes like that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Better to after, you know, it's better to just pull all the weeds out and replant something that's going to build the soil. Let the plants do the work, not the wood chips.
That's why I'm in favor of heavy planting constantly.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
keep jamming things in.
Yeah, the area down in the lower part of the helix, I want to
Yeah.
have things growing there.
Are there any of those brown figs ripening?
Let's go look. I know there's a couple goji berries down there if you want a goji.
Always.
I think the aronias.
The Apache blackberries.
Yeah, the aronias are open.
Slow the wind down coming from the southwest. We planted this hedgerow
really
really a while back. Yeah, and it has created a really hot microclimate in this area, which is really important. And it's slowed probably the wind down for the pollination of the apples, and pears don't do well, but this is a California wax myrtle, nitrogen fixing, total habitat. Yeah, this is a big nitrogen fixer.
I didn't know that.
And these will all turn blackberries, and the birds will just swarm all over this and eat those. They love it.
Great, leave the thornless blackberries for me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's sort of
Distracting.
detract. Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn.
Mhm.
Bindweed is, well,
Your nemesis. Our nemesis.
yeah.
So we have a whole bunch of pears in this area, and European pears in our region get rust, which is what you see on the leaves there. It's very difficult to treat in an organic, non-chemical way, and so we don't, and it can affect the fruit pretty significantly. We don't really get much pear fruit off of these. Asian pears do a little bit better. But the first phase of the food forest was planted with more of our traditional fruits like apples and pears, which actually tend to get more diseases and pests than most other fruits.
Plums, yeah.
So in later phases, we started favoring other fruits that are a little bit more pest and disease resistant.
Mulberries,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think over
persimmon, figs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think over time, like for example, this one here will come out? You'll remove it. It's just not going to be doing what you want it to do, and
We've really thought about it. It's hard because it's
pretty established.
a
now.
pretty established tree.
yeah.
The one around the corner is a boss pear. That one does a little bit better. It's got the boss pear has this russeted skin, which the russeted skin is kind of an advantage.
Okay.
It kind of protects it to some degree. I think we get better fruit off of that one. We've noticed that with apples too. The russeted skin is more protective against its pests.
This one's got a pear. It's got one pear that I can see. It's getting tall.
From here.
This hedgerow is a sun block or something?
Wind block, yeah. So it's the California wax myrtle, sort of tucked up against the hazelnut, and then there's the strawberry tree. There's a couple strawberry trees in there, which actually are delicious, and many people don't eat. They just take them for
The strawberry tree.
It's called strawberry tree. Yeah, it's got these big, beautiful looking, spiky looking. It's like eating a chunk of Play-Doh. You know, it's kind of mushy, and it has a lot of seeds in it. But it's actually, I crave them every year now. There's something in them that my body wants.
Do you know its botanical name?
Arbutus. Yeah, Arbutus unido, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to eat them. Here's one there, one there. This it's a pretty low producing goji. I mean, you've seen what they can do outside my house there.
Yes.
I think this is a climate change cash crop.
Climate change cash crop.
I think I think the soil is too good for it here. It's too organic. It actually likes a high alpine, kind of rough, rocky.
Tibet, right?
Yeah, it's like China and Tibet.
Oh, okay.
And it wants it dry. We would never have to water it. Matter of fact, if you do water, if it gets too much water, it's a little susceptible to a mold that happens around here. And this seems to be doing okay, but
It's a tough plant.
But I mean, once you get these trellised and you prune them back hard every year, man, they just go nuts, and you get so many berries, and they're super nutritious. So I mean, I'm a big goji fan, for especially some of the sort of rocky outcrop kind of areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around here, but
Around the mountains, right?
yeah, I mean, we do have some salah berries around. Not in this particular area, I don't think.
So yeah, these are a thornless blackberry, Apache blackberry, and they're just like a massive berries, and they are really good when you get a ripe one. It's hard to find a total ripe one right now, probably, but there might be some on this side. Yeah, some side better. And that is
Yeah, I got a lot here on
hazelnut, which we don't see a lot of hazelnuts because the squirrels get a lot of them around here.
Bloody squirrels, jeez.
Yeah, but that is like huge.
Where are we looking? Where's this hazelnut?
It's this tree that's in the back here.
Yes.
The darker bark, and going up, and then you'll see a lighter looking little bulb right there.
Oh, yeah.
You see that? It's like kind of hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there. See that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one big old hazelnut. And I see a couple more on there, which is pretty unusual. Usually we never see any develop. They're eaten way too quickly.
The squirrels get to it before.
There's a giant hazelnut on there.
Oh yeah, I see a few.
Yeah.
There's hair on this tree.
Yeah, there's hair on this tree too.
Oh, he looks pretty good actually.
Crandall black currant.
Nice color.
And actually, the rust isn't that bad on that.
Oh, not bad. Maybe we get
microclimate. You know, this might be sheltered. It's not getting the spore from the rust as much or something, as the other ones are more exposed or something, or it's just blocked by the wind, so it's not getting the spores. Who knows? You know, it's like these little things that can happen.
Would you point out the horseradish down here too? This is a great understory plant. Horseradish.
Yeah.
That grows like crazy and spreads.
That's horseradish. Okay.
Yeah, it's the root. Yeah.
Yeah, should we dig that? Is it ready?
They're always ready, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's always an abundance of them. We can always take them out.
Yeah, look at that. That's a nice root ball of radish. I'm not going to cut that because it's doing really well. But that's ready to harvest end of the year or something. Yeah.
We got burdock everywhere. Burdock is a great understory plant.
Yeah.
It's sort of more of an open field plant. Though.
Is there burdock here, Bill?
I don't see any right here. Oh, there's some over here. There's a whole bunch by the Goji over here.
Oh, the large leaf?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of looks like rhubarb a little bit.
Rhubarby, yeah. Yep.
This big, long taproot. It's brown.
What makes it a great understory plant?
It's just like can tolerate shade.
Tolerates the shade.
And
And the taproot is helpful.
it breaks up the soil. That's really nice to have that.
Yeah, okay.
Breaking
And
that
burdock's using Japanese
Yeah.
cuisine, is that right?
Yeah. I first ate it there. They mix it with some spices and carrots. It's earthy and it's really delicious, actually. I think it's really worth digging up. Out of all the forage foods, or almost quote-unquote survival foods, I'd rather have burdock than Jerusalem artichoke, personally.
The system.
Hey, Gavin, have you had the Crandall currant yet?
No, I haven't.
We should eat some of. This is on the eating tour.
On the eating tour, okay.
And the Crandall black currant tends not to be as ravaged by the sawflies, and it's delicious.
Okay.
These are maybe not quite ripe.
Okay, well, find your darkest one and it might be tart. But they're good, promise.
Eat them like really dark,
Yeah,
almost
nice.
purple.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, like
This guy.
purple black.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one was right on.
That was good.
He's over here.
That was
Oh,
good.
yep, this is
there
going to
you
be
go.
good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were going to do that to me.
Here, try that one. This is a little bit better. It's like almost purple.
Okay. So what were these called again?
They're black currants.
The currants?
And they're Crandall black currants.
Crandall black
Oh, if you
currant.
want a
It's
visual
a
to
special, specific species. It's a different species than most of the other ribes. You can see it has like this different leaf to it.
Okay.
like there's the visual of the Crandall black currant.
Nice. Yeah.
They have been good to us. They stick around because some other currants and the other ribus genus plants, including yostaberry and gooseberry, the sawfly larvae have eaten a lot of the leaves.
Sawfly larvae get them.
Yeah, and it's been a thing where we have to. This year they haven't been as bad, but some years we can't. We want to be organic here, and so does the city wants us to be as well. And so there was one year that we took to putting on gloves and literally squishing the sawfly larva by hand across all the plants.
That's
And
dedication.
it really was. And so we
That's
saved some plants that way, and some others were a goner, and we found that this and a couple others, the white currants, have stuck around as well.
Okay.
And I really love the white currants.
So do you think that effort put a dent in it?
Yeah, I think it did. Like there were a couple years, including 2020, the pandemic summer, that it was like so bad. But we there were some that I think we saved that way by squishing the sawfly larva, and then there's other ones that we realized were resistant, and so we planted more of those.
Yeah, right.
And that's working for us
Yeah.
because it produces a lot of food. It's a good like mid-range shrub, and when they're ripe, we all love them.
And it's prolific. Yeah. Great. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I love eating those different
They get the rust pretty good. This is the native guild area, you know that?
Oh, those are so good.
Yeah, it's all sort of native plants. This is the native area.
Oh, okay.
Different native willows, sedges, salmonberry. This is a contortus pine. But the actual water in the fen is right over here. Some blueberries. This is the actual seep
Okay.
in this area, and this is wapido, which is a native indigenous food
Okay.
supply here. It's like a tuber plant that grows in a wet, mostly in sort of shallow lakes and so forth. But it took off here, and I don't think we can really eat it just because of the water quality. But it's a really great plant, and it's really great that it grows here. Just to have it, as something to say we have it.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a source stock for other people to perhaps come and grab some and use it in their place. And,
Yeah. True.
where's this water coming from? What?
So the drainage is sort of like maybe off the left of off to the right of the parking lot, and then goes up to a golf course. So
it's sort of coming off there.
So it's coming down underground,
Yeah.
probably on those shields,
In that clay
and
pan.
then it pops out right here. and it's pretty year-round. So we really wanted to open this up and make a pond here in the very beginning. We saw this was wet, and they were like, "No, you can't have standing water like that." But I noticed these guys have been sort of slowly pushing out and then making a little, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
Was it like a county rule that we have to plant native plants around to see?
It was, to get permits to redo. We were actually, when we applied for permits to do the wetland area, they allowed us to sheet mulch because there was only like 2 different native species found in here that were of significant preservation quality. So we were able to sheet mulch all the canary grass, which is really obnoxious, and nothing else would grow if we had that in there. And there's no way you can get that out. And we luckily, 4 layers of cardboard and maybe a foot of chips killed it, and anaerobic, and so we were able to start somewhat fresh, which is a rare permit from the Department of Natural whatevers. They're really protective of wetland areas because they're threatened all over the place from development, and we saw it as grand opportunity to revive the ecosystem, basically.
It's really become a lot more like a forest.
It's
quite shady. Not too long.
Oh yeah, already is in places.
Yeah.
I know they're doing this is great work here.
Yeah.
There's a whole group really
There's
enthusiastic.
a dedicated group.
Yeah.
Okay. What have we got here?
That's a willow of some sort, probably.
A willow? Okay.
Yeah, either Pacific willow or
Okay.
something else. Sitka willow. I think this is the Sitka willow here. This is a crafting and basketry willow.
Like, are they promiscuous, like, or are they like?
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Very similar to me. It's like identifying grasses.
Gotcha.
Renee, do you know what this is?
Water parsley? That's what Antonio said.
Oh, it's water parsley?
I think so. Also, there was a girl whose grandmother is Korean, and she recognized it too. So, yeah.
Love that.
Ooh,
We learn
it's got a bite to it.
all kinds of different uses for our plants.
Yeah, every time I
Or just
come
like-
here, I learn something new, and it's from someone else, and we just teach each other, and that's beautiful.
The biodiversity here is like really staggering.
Through the roof.
It's
Really
staggering.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
only 10 years, and it's like, it is foresty in some
I
places.
think we've gone over 1,000 species counted, that for sure.
Over 1,000 species.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty good
That's
for 2 acre, 2.5 acres.
Used to be blank grass.
Yeah.
10 years ago with some grass.
All right. By the Native Americans as oak savanna. They have big, hairy oaks, and then they just burn everything underneath it. Unfortunately, we can't really do that here. There's a lot of foods that would do a lot better if we could burn them. Like currants, for example. We'd eliminate currant pests entirely if we were able to burn them. But we can't. So we have to find different ways of managing them.
Is it like fire, like heat itself? Or, because what we've done a lot here is just like sawing down a lot of like the grasses like once a year to sort of replicate like just like removal of things. But for, I know some species, like some trees need fire to germinate, like things like that.
True. The fire helps keep down certain things.
What's the pretty flower?
Yeah, this is a native Clarkia.
Clarkia.
Yeah. Probably broadcast seed.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Salah.
Salal?
Right.
Let's meet the salal.
Salal. Okay.
It's spelled S-A-L-A-L.
S-A-L-A-L.
Salal.
Yep.
And it's iconic native plant. And then you can eat pretty much all parts of this here, like the young leaves as well as the berries. Yeah, you can. I mean, like you can eat any of the leaves, but you would only enjoy the young leaves, maybe. But like the
Yeah.
berries, when they're like large and plump, and I don't know.
Yeah, the bears eat the whole plant almost.
These are so young
Bears
that they're
going
not.
down.
They'll hope for berries, but they'll eat all the leaves and everything too.
Here's like a couple that might be okay. These are kind of young, so when the bushes get big, the berries get
It
bigger.
actually has quite a pleasant flavor to it.
Oh, that's nice. Mm.
Yeah, it's a good berry.
Oh, here's some better ones.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And this is like something you'll see on like Pacific Northwest forest undergrowth really commonly.
Okay.
Go for a lot of hikes, and you'll start to see this everywhere. And if cities want to landscape in a better way with native plants, they'll go for this and for Oregon grape.
It's also just the flower arrangements, the wide leaf evergreen.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty hardy, yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always establish super well. Like we planted some others that didn't last, but this did. And then it can grow like real tall.
Oh, okay.
Like
good.
this shrub can just keep going
Like a
and
shrub?
become like shrubbery like this.
Salah.
Yeah, I did.
So this is fairly young salah,
Yeah.
and it's like a beloved local plant. I'm so into
Very
it.
neutral.
Oh, these are good.
So you said you could eat the young leaves?
If we prefer.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you might not enjoy it, but
I don't know.
it is edible. And I like to
Pleasant.
quip that I would make a salad with this and other
A salad.
and
Okay.
other native greens, you know.
Oh man, here's a whole
Like
score.
yeah, those are good.
Yeah, I think David plants these with these watering tubes because I think they're pretty thirsty.
Put that in there to try to save that one there. Sheltered haven of loveliness, really.
This area,
Yeah, this
yep.
whole area right in here
Yeah.
will be a really nice sheltered area. That's in perfect position to help.
Yeah.
Should be a few more fruit trees, really,
Yeah.
because if that grows up, then that'll be prime spot for fruit shelter.
So this is all of our biggest trees in the food forest: to chestnuts, oaks,
Okay.
and then these in front of us are conifers.
Okay. So these will get quite high.
We're hoping
Yeah.
these get really big and kind of
Something
block
like 60
the road.
feet tall. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
block the road,
Mm.
block the wind,
Mm.
kind of just shelter the whole site,
site.
really.
Yeah.
This whole area.
Mm.
This should be just a big pool of shade.
Yeah.
At some
Thanks,
point.
you guys.
Thanks,
Nice
Renee.
to meet you.
Good. Thanks for coming out.
And this is your stage 2 area? This is
Yeah.
So this is
That's about the dividing line.
right about here on
Yeah.
out this way.
Yeah.